Today we're going over the June monthly banner for 2026 in Fire Emblem Heroes. We'll discuss the new Mythic Hero and briefly cover the 11 left units on the banner. Most people thought she would be saved for the annual Double OC banner at the end of the year, but Jörmungandr is being released now. The Sleepy Snake is an Astro Mythic that boosts defense and is a colorless beast unit. From her boss stats in the main story, she's the typical min-max low armor with 50 HP, 47 attack, 18 speed, 49 defense, and 48 res. I'm not expecting those to change much for the final version. Now, for old skills, Jörmungandr has Armored Flare, which is the 5 cooldown armor special that has guaranteed 40% DR for 2 hits, plus great talent stacking. The new Inheritable Fighter B skill is going to work really well with these 5 cooldown armored specials. Now, Jörmungandr's weapon, I believe, is the same from the story version. Serpent's Fang has Warp Bubble to stop foes without pass. For Jörmungandr and allies within 3 rows or columns, she gives plus 15 stats to herself while allies get plus 5. Everyone will get Blood type cooldown support, and if you have 5 or more defense than the foe, you get Hardy Bearing. For personal skills, Jörmungandr has Slang and no Guard. She has the usual 25 true damage and 15 Exalted flat DR. Jörmungandr's flat DR also works against AoE specials. Generally speaking, nothing too crazy from this weapon, although Hardy Bearing support still isn't the most common effect. Be careful if you rely on Vantage or Desperation tactics because it will disable your own team skills if they have higher defense. Now, as a beast armor, Jörmungandr also gets Distant Counter when transformed. She does have a far save skill to help protect the team. Jörmungandr's unique A skill is Relax. At start of either phase, grant Imbue and the new Relax status to allies within 3 spaces. Jörmungandr has Fortune's transformation bonus, so it's very easy to transform human allies nearby, plus you can transform immediately and Aether its defense, if you want to use her there for whatever reasons. For other perks, Relax grants plus 5 HP and plus 9 to all stats in combat. It also has 7 true damage, 7 flat DR, and Legu's friends, minus the instant cooldown before the foe attacks. As for the new Relax status, it's quite good. It grants plus 4 to all stats, and an extra stat bonus based on the highest debuff on allies within 2 spaces of the user. Relax neutralizes debuffs on the user themselves, and it grants 7 flat DR for all hits. First off, Jörmungandr is another Imbue support, and she should always be transformed to get her Distant Counter. Second, she has Legu's friend cooldown, and combined with Breath type cooldown and Slang, this should allow her to counterattack with Armored Flare immediately if the foe doesn't have tempo. Now, regarding Relax, it's very similar to a Unity status like Grand Strategy. However, it only turns debuffs on allies into extra stats, while it neutralizes debuffs on the user at the same time. This means you cannot stack Relax with other Unity effects or Grand Strategy itself. I think they learned a lesson from that. Now, as an example, let's say Jörmungandr and her team gets hit with minus 7 attack by some enemy's skill. Relax is going to remove the minus 7 attack from the user, and then it's going to turn the minus 7 attack on nearby allies into plus 7 attack for the Relax unit in combat. If your team does not have debuff neutralization, then Relax is going to be a new way to handle those. It effectively counteracts things like Sabotage, and it's a hard counter to stuff like Dominance. While Relax is a pretty good status, I'm not sure it's going to cause as much chaos as our next skill. Iron Fighter is a new inheritable armor skill, and oh boy. For effects that are always active, Iron Fighter inflicts minus 4 attack defense res on the foe. It has true damage and flat air equal to 25% defense, which is an upgrade over the past Fighter B skills. It also has a free follow-up attack. For the main effect, things get very crazy. You have to meet 3 separate conditions. The first 2 are easy. 1, it must be enemy phase, and 2, you need to win a defense check by 5 or more. The third condition has 2 use cases. If the foe attacks from 4 or more spaces away, then Iron Fighter reduces the damage from all follow-up attacks to a max of 1 damage during combat. Basically, if you try to use these super long-range styles like Emmeline's Ring, then Iron Fighter turns all follow-ups into 1 damage max. Even if the enemy was to quad attack you and had the 5th potent hit, you would only deal 3 damage with those 3 hits. To get around Iron Fighter, you have to burst the user down with your first attacks. The other way is to attack within 3 spaces. Unfortunately, the first combat for the Iron Fighter user being attacked within 3 spaces still triggers that 1 damage follow-up effect. In other words, Iron Fighter is always going to trigger at least 1 time, assuming it's enemy phase and you win the defense check. For normal combat ranges, it will trigger once. After that, if you can initiate a second time in the same phase, then that enemy won't have the full damage follow-ups. However, at least from the wording, Iron Fighter can trigger as many times as it wants if the foe is 4 spaces away. Now, before we dive into more Iron Fighter talk, let's get through Jörmungandr's last skill. She brings along defense and res far save. Because of the new guaranteed 40% DR specials, Twin Save has been less useful. 40% damage reflection for your next counterattack is the better deal, or, well, it's the only other savior perk you can get besides stuff like higher or lower ground. Alright, so to summarize, Jörmungandr herself is an offense mythic who can try to tank using far save. That is risky without the extra blessing stats, but she also provides long range breath type cooldown, hardy bearing, and relax for debuff neutralization. Jörmungandr's general comment would be the same for most Iron Fighter users. You want to use a 40% DR special that works on first attacks. These are Arch Rival, Comet, etc. If the foe cannot punch through on the first attack or the first or second Brave hit, then Iron Fighter makes it so the follow-up attacks only deal 1 damage. It doesn't matter if they quad attack or are potent, if you have 4 or more HP, you should survive. Now the downside to Iron Fighter is that if a second attacker initiates within 3 spaces in the same phase, then its main effect will not be active. For a positive, Iron Fighter can always trigger if the foe is using the super long range styles. With that being said, if you lose the defense check, none of this matters. That would be a big concern due to just how insane stat swings get these days, so if you're going to use Iron Fighter, then bring as much defense buffs as you can get. Armored Flare's great talent defense ability is useful here, and you can also lower enemy defense, that works too. Unlike some pure tanks, Jörmungandr would try to fight back. Before the foe attacks, she gets -2 cooldown from her A skill, -2 cooldown when getting hit due to breath type cooldown, and then with Slaying, that means she can charge Armored Flare. If Jörmungandr can just pop the enemy with her special counterattack, then no need to worry about follow-ups. This is also why she has Hardy Bearing. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what other units can use Iron Fighter effectively. The first one that comes to mind for me is for Mortis due to Nightmare. Miracle armors like Marnie or just anyone with Roy's Ring would be hilarious. Imagine Miracle kicks in on the first attack. If your armor can heal back up with their counterattack, then they only need to heal 4 HP before the enemy's follow-up. It would be incredibly tilting to trigger Miracle, and you still couldn't finish the enemy off, even with like a quad attack or potent. Not looking forward to running into Iron Fighter in the wild more, but for now let's go over the 11 other heroes on this banner. Red has Legendary Black Knight, Young Felix, and Harmonic Spring Eirika/Micaiah. Blue's got Emblem Byleth, Rearmed Young Ingrid, and Spring Thorr. Green has Attuned Lachesis and Eliwood, plus Morva. Last, Colorless has the new Jörmungandr, Mythic Tiki, and Rearmed Spring Sothe. First up, Legendary Black Knight is a slow sword armor who has the Imbue and Reflex, healing plus damage reflection combo. He can get 50% on Pierceable DR from his special, but you need to pre-charge it with something like Counter Fighter's instant cooldown. BK will have Distant Counter from Distant Attack and Defense form, and Attack and Defense bar far save to protect his team. He also has Nelson Disrupt to always counter back, and he has the defense checking Hardy Bearing effect. Next, Young Felix is a speedy sword infantry who can give attack and speed liberate, dodge, and pulse follow support. Felix retains his Lone Wolf extra actions plus double slaying. He has Burst of Thunder for extra movement and cooldown, plus he's got built-in Kanto. Felix will have his 100% potent follow-up effect, and against green foes, he could potentially trigger Arch Rival twice. As usual, Felix has a ton of flat DR with his kit, and he packs on more with Duelist Blow, which also gives tempo. Last up, Harmonic Spring Eirika is a red mage cavalier. She has Micaiah's 2-space Harsh Command plus Cleanse effect, and she can inflict a debuffs, panic, and the anti-miracle status. For Comet, Eirika has a style to attack from 3 spaces away, and it has full DR piercing. She can get a ton of instant cooldown if you have a lot of statuses active, and she can get instant cooldown on her follow-up attack as well. Logic is going to get empowered with bonus true damage from Stellar Brace and attack and speed Aria. Eirika can give more support and true damage with attack and speed Liberate. The blue group has Emblem Byleth, who's a Blumentry mage. Byleth's ring turns the user into a dancer when they assist an ally. Byleth themselves also wants to assist an ally because he gets an extra action and deploys debuffs on the foe while also activating attack and speed favor to buff his ally. Byleth even has Instruct for even more buffing via great talent stats. Now for Comet, Byleth's got a perfect attack and speed for no follow-up to double, and he has a 100% potent hit. Goddess Dance has 40% DR for all hits, and Byleth can charge it up for his follow-up attacks. Next, Rearmed Young Ingrid is a Lance Cavalier. Arcane Thorn is the 4th gen arcane perks, plus it grants defense and res buffs, truly incited, and pre-impulse support. This is great with the attack and speed Outcry Dull C skill for a full buffing setup. Ingrid's A skill will inflict debuffs and grant an extra action after assisting. This works with favor as well. Ingrid will also have Contact Distance, more instant cooldown on her first and follow-up attacks, and 100% potent to help trigger Shatter Slash. Ingrid has her own attacking demons debuffs to trigger Shatter Slash's extra in combat effects. Last, Spring Thorr is a flying lance unit with low speed. Thorr can inflict long range debuffs, defensive tempo, 10 true damage, and a follow-up denial. Her C skill has Guidance 2 space warping and provides further support, including 40% damage reflection, just like Briar. He also has a hardy bearing effect. Now, for combat, Thor's got distant counter, IO shield, breath type cooldown, and another mind sensing cooldown before attacking to trigger Arch Rival. Thorr can get into attack range with Heavenly Swords, long range pass warping, and it gives more flat DR protection. Meanwhile, Divine Spectre is the attacking demon's version of Blue Skies, so more true damage, flat DR, and good old Kanto to retreat after. In the green group, we have attuned Lachesis, who's an Axe Cavalier. She can inflict stat debuffs and grant the team bonus stats based on the foe's field boss. She also gets adaptive damage and on-hit healing support. Now combat-wise, Lachesis has weapon triangle red style to use with Arch Rival. She also has momentum cooldown on her B skill, plus the potent Twisted Echo. Fast units can get the full 100% potent follow condition. Now, since her weapon grants Kanto, Lachesis has the newer attacking speed Rival Break, which is the Excel upgrade. Attacking speed Bellow is a solid buff and counter for C skill for breath type cooldown. Next, attuned Eliwood is also an Axe Cavalier. He gives defense and res field buffs to go with his attacking speed Outcry Seize buffing skill. Eliwood's special has an interesting support ability that includes a map-wide fringe bonus effect and a potent follow-up based on field boss. This is why he has a fully buffing kit. For himself, Eliwood will get 4 movement and Impetus Guard, which is a momentum cooldown skill with Scowl plus Guard. He can combo this with the Momentum Echo skill for an instant high damage special. Eliwood even gets instant cooldown on his first follow-up attack to try and proc his special a second time. Now, for the cherry on top of this already insane fodder kit, Eliwood has Blue Sky Gust for anyone's Kanto needs. Last up we have Morva, who is a green flying dragon. Morva provides defense and res buffs with fringe bonus and warp bubble support. He has his own warp skill with attack and res hold guard. Personal effects, Morva's got Kanto, IO shield, sling, breath type cooldown, and the usual true damage and flat DR effects. Morva's got dragon scales in the B slot for stats, cooldown, every follow-up, and some DR piercing. He also has the rare Dragon Flame special for Ignis level damage with healing, plus the older one-time 40% DR effect. The Colorless group will feature our new Mythic Jörmungandr. She has some very interesting fodder thanks to Armored Flare and Iron Fighter. If you need a save skill, then she also has Briar Far's save. Generally speaking, because of the forest-based condition on Iron Fighter, you probably want to use Far's save to protect your team since it can trigger at any point. Light Mythic Tiki is a bulky colorless armored dragon. She can protect your team statuses from units like Mythic Loki, and Tiki provides good statuses herself like Mart's Fire Emblem status along with breath type cooldown. Tiki will have her usual dragon effectiveness, a ton of flat DR, and some distant counter. She has Lagu's friend type cooldown and can scout all first enemy attacks. Tiki will have Armored Ice Cap, which is just the res version of Armored Flare. She has Higher Ground as a far save plus warp bubble skill, and Diluvial Boost is still good, but not sure the 7 HP healing is gonna outdo the crazy Rise Above 4. Last up, Rearmed Spring Sothe is a colorless dagger infantry. Arcane Slicer is a 4th gen arcane weapon that also provides attack and speed buffs with dodge and the pulse follow status. Sothe has a unique True Bane special which has 40% DR, no guard, feud, and the 100% potent follow-up. It also grants allies great talent attack and speed stacking. Now for other fodder, Sothe has 3 dagger only skills. Waylay is a no follow-up option, while Lookout Smog has Kanto, Distant Swamp, and Scowl. Sothe is still the only unit with Disarm Rumor. You can disarm traps in 8th raids, and the skill inflicts speed and defense debuffs with Discord for more support. It also has 15 true damage and 7 flat DR, so it's still a decent all-in-one skill outside of 8th raids. That'll be it for this month's Mythic banner. Jörmungandr's relaxed status is nice for handling debuffs, but it feels like Iron Fighter is the skill to keep an eye on because it's targeting the focus on follow-up attacks, which includes any potent hits. It does have a lot of conditions to meet though, and that does mean more potential ways to counter it. It is going to be disgusting when it works though, so yeah, not looking forward to that. As a reminder, the next banner is also a summer seasonal lineup, so if those interest you, then maybe wait a week. The rest of the year is going to be off on the orb stashes with Fortune's Weave and CYL coming one after the other. Good luck if you're going to be summoning, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.